Yo, 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 what is going on? Welcome back out to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. We're your Tuesday show. It's Cavs Encapsulated, episode 9. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button. It's totally free and means the world to us. Also, hit that like button. Really helps us in the YouTube algorithm, us three Cavs fans trying to get to the top of Cavs media on YouTube. I think we have a really good chance. I don't think a lot of people cover the Cavs, but it's a team that needs to be looked at. It's a team that needs to be dissected on YouTube. And before I go to Logan about, how he's feeling and then how Justin on how he's doing, I just wanted to put that out there that we are not Cavs. We're not team affiliated. So you see some of these post-game shows, these teams that cover the Cavs, they might be directly affiliated with the Cavs. We're not. We don't have to there's no censoring here. We could say whatever we want about the Cavs, and it's our opinions. And we're here for you to bring the voice of the fan, amplify your guys' voices. So I just wanted to throw that out there. We are independent, doing our own thing. Logan, back in Seatown, baby. What's going on?
Fresh off the plane, boys. Fresh off the plane. Happy holidays to everybody listening, to you guys, of course. You know what? Yesterday sucked. That Cleveland Browns game absolutely sucked, and I think you guys talked enough about it. But the saving grace this year in Cleveland has been these Cleveland Cavaliers. We're facing some crappy situation right now with COVID. It's affecting all the league. I'm pretty sure. I have those Twitter notifications on for Agent Wojnarowski and Shams, and I feel like every other notification now is COVID health and safety protocols for, name insert player here. It's definitely taking the league by storm, and it's definitely gonna, it's derailing some momentum. But this Cavaliers team has seen, these problems before. We'll see if they can keep it rolling in the next couple of games here.
Justin, I saw somebody say the Cavs are the beacon of hope for this city. Would you agree?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, they absolutely are after a heart-wrenching game for the Browns that you and I had to talk about last night. It truly just does seem like the ray of hope in Cleveland, but like Logan was alluding to earlier about COVID, it's just, decimating not only the Cavs and not only the NBA, but, the Cleveland Browns and a lot of just other major sports teams around the U.S. So we'll see how we respond. Obviously, we got some things to talk about today, but I'll let you handle that agenda.
Yeah, a couple of Cavs notes here, and then we're going to get into our comment of the week, which was left on us after we were live during the post game this week. So officially, Cavs signed forward Justin Anderson and center Luke Cornett to a 10-day contracts via the NBA's hardship exemption, which I'm not 100% sure, but I believe the hardship exception is a COVID thing. I think it's fluent with not being able to field a roster. Here's the beauty of the NBA as far as I'm concerned, compared to other sports like the NFL. NFL, you basically have to get the games in. There's no way around it. Every game is going to mean something as far as division, conference, this, that, and the other thing. NBA, they could really go a bridge season if they really wanted to. I don't want to see that happen. But we had 3 postponements yesterday. Your Cleveland Cavaliers postponed simply because they could not field a roster, especially difficult traveling. So we were in Milwaukee. It's tough, we're not flying over the Wolstein Center and grabbing guys up from the charge team. So then we were going to Atlanta. We just didn't have enough guys to play. The NBA was actually pretty good. Easy postponement. 2 other games got postponed as well. There's hopes that we could play tomorrow, and I believe these 2 signings are the reason that tomorrow's game could potentially go on. We're getting a forward and a center to round out our roster. Logan, I feel like you would know these guys if anybody. I've heard of Justin Anderson, and I've heard of both of them actually, but I just don't know anything about their games. Are you familiar?
Yeah, Justin Anderson is kind of been one of those guys that has always been just a constant energy. The guy is built like a statue. When he gets open, he knocks down a couple of threes, but he's mostly known for his I can't talk. Mostly his athleticism and his defense of mind. He's definitely a tough guy. He'll get in your face. He's a little bit of an instigator. Luke Cornett, I know less about. I know he's a tall guy that can stretch it a little bit. He's kind of been a filler for a lot of teams over the last couple of years. But really, it's really just some insurance guys for the most part. I personally would have liked to see a couple of guys from the Charge come up. I've been following Kyle Guy a lot,
Right.
the man out of Virginia. I've been following Malik Newman. I think a lot of people followed Malik Newman over the years. I think there's some good young talent down there. And I think that the Cavaliers kind of focus on getting ready-made guys at this point because at the drop of the hat, we're not sure what roster. We're not sure what roster we're going to put out there on any given night with the current situation going on. So it's definitely not it's not a bad two guys to grab. Luke Cornett, I mean, like an oversized guard, I guess. Justin Anderson, kind of your undersized small forward. I don't know. They're kind of just plug and play kind of players, and not a whole lot to say on this situation, boys.
Yeah, Justin brings up a great idea. We're going to try to kick the can down the road with the 2 games that we played this week, which one we were live after. I'll throw it up in the eye. Check that out. Check out our VODs. Our VODs are fun. Watching chat is interesting, and get involved when you see us live. Make sure that bell notifications hit. Will come up. Our header background, which is the picture behind me to some extent, will come up when we're live, and you can jump in and talk Cavs with us. So, Justin, this is Justin's idea, segueing into the next part. Great idea. Throwing it up on the screen right here. A comment from our last live stream, Tom K. He says, Koby dash. How much credit is this team construction by design or opportunity or luck or JB question mark? I give him ton of credit for trades and picks. So if you're not familiar, the general manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Koby Altman, his tenure began August 17th, 2017. He is obviously currently the GM now. Someone who I have taken some issue with, especially in this offseason. Justin, I think, has agreed on some points. Logan, it's interesting we're doing this episode because me and Justin don't really know 100% what Logan, his feelings are around this. But let's just tackle the first part. Koby, how much credit does Koby Altman get? And is this team design, opportunity, or luck? So I'm going to Logan. Let's start with answering design, opportunity, or luck, and how much credit does Koby Altman get for this current roster?
This specific team, he deserves a lot of credit. I think he was kind of in no man's land for a couple of years, making trades that we've talked about in the past, desperate moves, moves that didn't make sense. And I think this team, yes, there's a little bit of luck. I think some moves that they made set up something that they didn't even realize that they had. But it's definitely a design team. I mean, at the end of the day, he went out and said, I want to go big. A lot of people called him stupid. I think I was even one of those people. And it's really, really worked out. So I think design is definitely the way I'd go. I think Koby Altman does deserve a lot of credit. We talk about the Jared Allen trade, drafting Evan Mobley. Now, when you also think about it, any GM probably is capable of making that move. Oh, Jared Allen for scraps? Yeah, sure. Evan Mobley at number 3, bring him on. Like, but he made the right moves. At the end of the day, Koby Altman made those right moves. He goes out and gets veterans like Rubio, and then, a younger player in Markkanen. I think he deserves a lot of credit, but I think you also got to throw it to JB as well, because he was given a task that coaches in the NBA nowadays are not given, and he has made it work.
Justin, construction, design, opportunity, and how much credit to Koby versus maybe Bickerstaff?
Man, I think it's a lot of luck. Honestly, it's gotta be a lot of luck, because if you look at a lot of the first time stuff that he did, the Kyrie trade is still one that I look back on, and me and Jeff, of course, look back on and are just absolutely miserable about. What
about this roster though? As far as I know, like I understand that like the Kyrie trade everything kind of filters into this roster, but I know you want to get into the whole resume, which we definitely can. But as far as this roster, do you think it's mostly luck that this roster kind of came together like this?
Yeah, but yeah, it's still like 1,000%. Like you think about it, all right, the draft plays a huge role in how teams develop. If you go back and you look at his first pick, you get Colin Sexton. All right, he's the 8th pick. He doesn't really do a lot for this team in terms of what he had, what the team had done through the past 2 years before Garland, Okoro, and Mobley. I mean, that's 3 years. You go on, you draft Darius Garland, who might be, where he was selected at 5, the best pick possible. So that's great. Then you go and you draft Isaac Okoro, who we're still finding out a little bit. We all have our little critiques and we all have our, praises for him, but I don't think that he's lived up to that, fifth pick hype yet. But again, a couple guys after him also not fantastic. So you gotta look at things there. Keeping Kevin Love on this roster with all the issues that we heard about with him and we saw with him, it's just like, I don't know if it was like luck that he's playing as well as he is now, or if it's because of the system that we've gotten into. But in terms of signing him for so much money and then like just having him play poorly year after year after year until finally this year where we get lucky and our whole team is just playing out of their minds. I don't think we ever expected this in the offseason to be where we are now in the season. The trade for Lauri Markkanen for Larry Nance, that's incredible. Ricky Rubio, that's incredible. The Jared Allen thing, it's tough for me to be like, yeah, he really did well on that. I think he was just fortunate to be the third team in that scenario that could dump off a lot of contract money and stuff. But man, I don't know. I think I give a lot more respect to JB than I do to Koby at this point. But I still think that there is room to give credit to Koby for sure.
Justin, you make a good point there. You brought up Kevin Love and how he's playing better this year. I think that does come down to coaching. You have a guy who believes in you, gives you a defined role, and is a player's coach. He gets these guys to buy into what he's selling. That's what JB does. Koby, yes, had the vision. But that vision only comes into fruition with the head coach, a guy you can trust to go out there and lead the 15 that are on that Cavalier sideline, So I think you're right. I think a lot of the credit does go to JB Bickerstaff. I think if you insert a guy like Ty Lue, a guy like John Beilein,
we haven't even talked about that.
A guy like Byron Scott or Mike Brown, I don't think they get
Byron Scott.
I don't think they get as much out of this team as JB has. He was given the pieces and he's made them work. And I think at the end of the day, yes, Koby deserves some credit, but JB is the reason Koby looks so good, I guess is where I'm at.
So this is interesting because we're kind of like, I'm going to be in the middle, believe it or not. Justin's on the harshest side, which this is weird. Logan's on the most optimistic side. And I'm going to say it's lucky opportunity. So I'm closer to Justin. I'm definitely closer to Justin. I think that it's lucky opportunity because the Jarrett Allen trade, which is by how it shook out. We got Taurean Prince, who's not on the team, and Jarrett Allen. Houston/Brooklyn received Dante Exum and a 2022 Milwaukee first-round pick. So we were at that point, though, in the Eastern Conference where the big three was being assembled before our eyes. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. It's not like they didn't want Jarrett Allen. I'm pretty sure Brooklyn wanted to make it work with him, but with the cap space in the NBA, basically trying to need 3 super max contracts open, there was just no room for him to get paid in any manner. So the opportunity was there, but it was basically lucky that Harden was forcing his way out of Houston and he wanted to go play with Kevin Durant again. So there's the two-sided to that. To the draft opportunity, because finally we get a pick in the top 3 this season's draft. So that's really nice. So that's opportunity and a little bit of luck. And we're extremely lucky that Houston balks and goes with Jalen Green. Yeah. In my opinion, it's early. It's a small sample size. Jalen Green could easily have a better NBA career than Evan Mobley. At the end of the day, if you think about it, it's probably a coin flip at this point. But Evan Mobley falling to 3, there was no decision making there, because if I think Koby would have been 2, I think he might have picked Jalen Green. I really do. So I'm giving him, I'm not giving him 50% of the credit though. I'll give JB more than 50% of the credit. Buying in defensively, getting guys who Koby has already overpaid, done and dusted that he's overpaid. That's my biggest thing retrospectively for Koby Altman. And this is where I'm actually relaxing a little bit on him, because I think I saw growth this offseason where Colin Sexton's camp was asking a boatload of money
Yeah.
All the evidence in Koby Altman's tenure here has aired on the side of paying people. He pays, Andre Drummond $27 million. Larry Nance got a $45 million 4-year extension with us. Kevin Love, of course, 4 years, $120 million. He even gave John Beeline, like Logan said, approximately $4 million a year. So I was shocked.
Osman, he gave him 4 years for $31 million.
Yes. So Chetty Osman is overpaid. I don't care
at the time. I don't
know. Do we still think that?
Still overpaid. Yeah, still overpaid. $7 million, $8 million for a bench guy. Still overpaid.
Jeff, the NBA money is very different from the NFL money. I feel like we see that $7 million, and we're like, holy heck! Like he's making $5 million less than like Nick Chubb.
I mean, that is crazy,
right?
I don't mean to get away off topic, but I'm curious, Jeff. What is your ideal contract for a bench player then?
I'm just saying though, like, all right, my ideal contract, it's not all about numbers, but at the end of the day, you actually see better Koby Altman signings on the bench so far this year for better value. I think Dean Wade undrafted has been better value than Chetty this year. I think Lamar Stevens could put his name up there. Lamar Stevens making 1.5 mil this year. I think he gives you defensive, presence that Chetty gives you. He could actually put the ball. We're paying Chetty $7 million to not dribble and shoot threes, and he's bought in defensively though. This is why more credit goes to JB. Chetty's bought in defensively. Kevin Love's bought in defensively too, making $30 million, and he comes off the bench in a good role. And I think that Rubio, those guys look like overpays at the beginning. Markkanen could end up being a deal if he could play consistent basketball. And I think Rubio's been worth every penny. So a lot of opportunity that just fell into our laps and a lot of luck that was associated with it. But Logan, if you want to talk about the whole tenure, let's hear it. I'd like to hear a full range of thoughts.
You're talking about Koby as a whole?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the problem, right? Like we said, he is following David Griffin. Dan Gilbert has never re-signed a GM after their first tenure. I don't know why. I don't know if it's an ego thing, if it's not seeing eye to eye. Like, back when David Griffin was fired, this is when the whole Kyrie Irving saga was going down. And David Griffin apparently had a trade in place for Paul George, and Dan Gilbert didn't want to lose J.R. Smith. It was just stupid. And I guess that's what the problem is like we replaced David Griffin, who I think every Cavalier fan absolutely adored, with this new guy who, yes, under the tutelage of David Griffin, but I think we saw some very strange moves. And the thing that David Griffin always did, the thing that David Griffin always preached, is that he values the fit more than the star power. And I think getting a guy like Andre Drummond, who was a big name but wasn't a good fit, was a bad move. I think I'm trying to think of some other players. I mean, getting a guy like guys, seriously, like, there were so many different players in the last couple of years.
Kobe's made so many trades. It's actually crazy.
Like Alec Burks, a random guy that comes in, and he was a decent player, but did he fit? No, not at all. Rodney Hood, who couldn't stay by. George Hill, who he started over Colin Sexton, at the beginning of his career. Like, I just think we valued the wrong players. And now I think Koby Altman, it could have been, guys, it's his first time as a true general manager. Maybe he needed a couple years under his belt. I don't know. But I think this year gave him a lot of good experience. He can learn what went right, what didn't go right, for the first time. Because I think in the first couple of years with Koby Altman, you can't learn much besides from the fact that, we suck. Like that. I mean, like, there's not much you can go off of that. Yes, you can try to get your team better. Yes, you can try to draft the right guys. It's easier said than done. Having a successful season so far to this point, I think will tell Koby Altman more. And maybe there's, better things to come in store. Right now, I'm talking about as a full tenure right around a C for Koby Altman. Believe me, it was much worse before this season started.
Logan, it's interesting that you talk about seeing what he'll do in the future. We're already coming up on a really huge, mile marker with a lot of the things that are happening in this season. Obviously, two guys that you have to talk about are Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. One going off and absolutely just having the best year of his career, and the other one having the biggest injury of his career. Yet, he was the first. This is Koby Altman's first pick as a GM, so he has a total, allegiance to him. But what is the thought process on what he should do moving forward? Like, what would make you feel good about him in terms of like signings? Because at this point, I think we can all agree that we have a roster filled with guys that we like. Whether or not we keep a lot of them is up to Koby Altman. So those two are the biggest on the board. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
The Kyrie Irving trade, we didn't have a whole lot of leverage. I think the way he handles this Colin Sexton situation, I'm not saying we have leverage. I think we have more than we did before. And I think we have multiple things that we could actually do with him. We could re-sign him to a smaller contract. We could re-sign him to a giant contract. We could try to trade. There's multiple different situations now that we could actually do. Back then, I mean, Kyrie, everyone knew what was going on, what the situation was, and they were lowballing us. I think the way that Koby Altman handles this first real challenge for him now with a few years under his belt, I think it will tell a lot. I personally don't mind seeing I don't mind seeing Sexton go. I also don't mind him being a part of the team as long as he's in the right role and plays for the right money. So I think that's what you're right, Justin. I think this is kind of the move that is going to tell a lot about Koby Altman. Is he just a spender? Is he a go-getter? We'll find out.
Jeff, question for you, and it's the same. It's very similar to the same question I just gave Logan. But what do you think happens first? Do you think a Colin Sexton deal gets done first, or do you think a Darius Garland deal gets done before?
Garland, 100%.
Do you think that's this summer?
Yeah. And if with the evidence so far, which I just talked about, he kind of strayed away from that lineage with Sexton this offseason, I wouldn't be surprised if Darius picked up the max, which is like 26 million a year, I think, which, that's a different topic. I think if Garland plays the rest of the season like this, you're going to be tough. You're going to be hard pressed not to sign him to the max unless you try to lowball him, off the rip. But yeah, I'm definitely seeing the Garland deal get done first. That's mostly because of the injury, really. The rehab is a lot for Sexton this season, and we'll just see. But you guys are making great points. I think what's interesting about Koby Altman, and Justin has talked about it through the draft. So let's just say right now that Koby Altman's draft history is, I would say, Sexton to me is a lost cause though already, because I don't think that Colin Sexton being a good draft pick is something you could say about Koby Altman's resume, because the Cleveland Cavaliers are playing their best basketball this century without LeBron James on the roster, and he's not out there. So there's not a whole lot of that doesn't suggest to me that Colin Sexton was the right pick at 8 that year, albeit that was a pick we got from Brooklyn. And I think Isaac Okoro was probably a 50-50. If he continues to play like he has, before he went into protocols, then he'll probably be a hit. But if he plays like, we've seen him play, not being able to make shots at times, at being the 5th overall draft pick, it's all expectations for me. I'm not expecting, a guy in the 2nd round. I'm not expecting Koby Altman to hit on Dylan Windler at the 26th pick or wherever we got him from. So it's been a pleasant surprise that he's even been on the roster in some capacity. But the 5th overall pick, you have to be a good talent identifier, and you have to be a good hiring general manager as personnel. JB Bickerstaff was with this team in 2019. So there's conscious evidence out there that Koby Altman went out of house to get a college basketball coach, which has a poor track record when the guy who was leading the team was literally right there as an assistant. So who would have known if John Beilein, I'm shocked that JB's the coach, but it was almost like that's another aspect of the luck. Beilein's a goner and JB has to take over as an interim, and like Koby kind of stumbles on him. So this season has a lot less to do with what the general manager has done and a lot more to do with what the head coaches or the head coach, the assistant coaches, and the players have really bought into. But yeah, I mean, there's so many moving pieces with a conversation like this. So I will give him, like I said before we started recording, Justin, I will give him kind of a pass on when he had to be the general manager, the short time LeBron was here, because it's just tough to be LeBron's basically calling the shots. Everybody knows that. All these little, dink and dunk trades that happened that season, just none of them worked out though. Like we got Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, and Ante Zizic for Kyrie. None of those guys are on the team. We traded for Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance. That's who we flipped Isaiah Thomas and Channing Frye in a first round pick for. Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance are not on the team. George Hill not on the team. Beeline
And
didn't even make it 1 year.
Derrick Rose and Dwayne Wade too. Don't forget about those guys.
Yes. So I think Kobe's biggest credit right now is Garland and Mobley, basically. And Mobley was a lot of luck because Houston got scared.
What we
Bickerstaff coming up on a contract, huh? I don't think he's
really.
I'm trying to look for the numbers. He's apparently signed through 2023, but that was right when he got the interim job. So I don't see how that works and if he's in play for a new contract as a coach. But that would be like another interesting kind of thing to see Kobe work with. Like, what is he going to do? Because he signed Beeline for such a huge amount of money as a college coach, but now, Bickerstaff's had a phenomenal year with what's going on. So I'm interested to see what happens there.
I mean, to answer Tom K at the end of the day, it could be any of those people getting credit. What I do know is the Cavaliers are currently 19-12, right? 19-12 with a starting lineup who are all under the age of 25.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some good years coming here for Cleveland. You can give the credit wherever it's due. It's hard to pinpoint exactly where it is. I think, like we said, it kind of lies with JB and it lies with players buying in and getting inspired and being a team for the first time, in a long time. But yeah, just a lot of good things going on with this Cavalier team right now. And, whoever deserves the credit, I thank you because it's certainly given us, a hell of a fun time here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, he's been here. That's a good point, Logan, that you made earlier about not re-signing general managers, but he has been here since 2017. So he's been here 4 years and he's had some, nobody has ever said that he's had an easy job. I don't think any general manager has an easy job coming in, taking over. You have Kyrie, the beginning of the Kyrie avalanche, basically where he has completely lost his mind, and you have to deal with LeBron right there. But when you come in as a general manager and the first thing you do is don't listen to LeBron, I just don't have high hopes for you for the rest of your tenure because LeBron is literally saying out loud, live in the flesh, don't move Kyrie until I talk to him. Well, apparently that didn't happen. Apparently Kobe moved him. So can you attribute all of LeBron leaving a second time to Kobe? Probably not. Nobody's saying that. And now you got to maneuver around a back-to-back COVID seasons where you don't play every game. It's tough to get development out of your younger guys, especially guys who you draft in the top 10, who you want, instant results with. And here's the last thing, because we're coming up on about 30 minutes here, maybe a little bit, around that time. And we could talk about the NBA moving forward. Hopefully Cavs getting these games in. We could look at some predictions, just throw it out there into the ether. But the Love contracts, the Drummond contracts, some of the guys we're paying. And I'm starting to hear this now. I'm starting to hear this on some other people I listen to, some other people that I actually do respect a lot. Their Cavs takes are good. But it's like, this is what I hear. With how weird the Cavs cap space is, it's going to be tough to make a move. No, it's not. It just didn't randomly get weird. Kobe has gotten us into this place where if we want to make even a minor role player move, I'm looking at exemption rules because Colin Sexton has a season-ending injury where we could free up $3 or $4 million because we're already over the luxury tax thanks to Koby Altman. So it's not like that. The money just didn't pay the players itself. Like he made these moves to an extent where now we have less mobility around a trade deadline. If you wanted to go get a Buddy Hield, not even possible. You'd have to move somebody. You would have to move some of your assets, which he's not afraid to do. So I guess we'll see, but he has put us in this cap space dilemma at the current time.
Right.
So you got to the harsher end of that now.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah.
Sure. I mean, it's one of those things like, the product on the court is great. I don't think we need to make any moves right this moment. I think things are going really well. I'm very happy right now as a Cavalier fan. I'm just saying, if you want to take that next step, you actually don't really have that option. Yep. You're going to have to get rid of one of the pieces you don't want to get rid of to bring in someone else. That's why people are kind of hesitant to make those trades. But I think people don't realize the real reason is because of the money situation. It's simple dollars and cents that the Cavaliers don't have right now.
Right.
So, that's why deciding who you want to extend and who you want to be a part of this Cavalier future is massive. It is absolutely huge for Koby Altman because, I think Rubio's got this 1 year. I don't know if he'll re-sign. Who knows? Markkanen's got 2 years. So I think is what it was, 2 years.
I think
Love's
he's
got
longer than that.
3 years. Wait, we did get him on that deal, right?
Yeah, we sign and trade him.
Right. And then,
he's
Kevin
making
Love,
4 years, 67 million for Markkanen.
4 years, right? I forgot about the extension. And then Kevin Love, I think, has 2 more years. So who knows if he'll be off the books by then. But that's why the money situation, it's kind of that underlying problem we don't talk about because we're just like, look at the court, look at them lob each other, look at them make threes. Like there could be underlying problems that can stop a dynasty earlier than it should be, I guess is my main point. And I don't mean to sound all sad and everything. I think the Browns have me just feeling some type of way right now. But I think truly it's just like if things are in a good spot, but keep your eye on it and enjoy it while it's going because there's going to be some big moves and Koby Altman's going to be in charge of those. We'll see how he does.
Yeah.
Justin, anything else on the Koby Altman saga? I was thinking of making a nice video graphic, kind of like how I did with Kevin Love, but I thought we'd rather talk about it on the episode because we're in a little bit of a downturn with games being postponed.
Yep. Yeah, no, nothing more from me. Obviously, with COVID happening and us only getting 2 games and, going live after one of them, we kind of have not little, but not too much to talk about. And we figured that since we're going to have 2 games before the next time we meet, we're gonna have to do predictions for that. But like we said, not a whole lot. So we just made conversation out of what we had. So honestly, pretty good with all of that. Looking forward to talking about the schedule and going even further down in our predictions.
And for those of you that were wondering how those games went and why we're not talking about it, a Cavalanche is what I've been seeing on Twitter lately. Absolute, whoopings coming from the Cavaliers, obviously against shorthanded teams once again. Again, that's the reality the NBA is in. Everybody's going against it. Everybody has to deal with it. So, you go out there and that's why you play the games. And the Cavaliers have played very, very well. We'll see what kind of guys we get back soon enough here. And I'm also an idiot, guys. Luke Cormette is also a 7'2" center. I think earlier I thought he was a taller small forward or guard. Luke Cormette, I guess we're sticking with size, right? We get another 7-footer onto our roster while Mobley's out. So clearly there's definitely a rhythm and a certain identity we certainly are looking to continue to have. But we'll see.
JB was like, give me the biggest free agent.
Who's the biggest guy in the free agent market? Get him, sign him. That's exactly what he did. Plug and play players. We'll see if they can make an impact and see if these Cavaliers continue.
Taco Falls.
Right, exactly. Get me some Taco Fall in there. We'll just see if the Cavaliers can continue because they've been that type of team that adversity hits and they rise to the occasion. We'll see if they can continue that.
Jeff, quick predictions for Celtics and Raptors games.
I'm 10-3, boys.
Oh yeah, we're
that's BS though because we didn't have anyone play for
salty,
the Bucks.
Salty,
dude, I don't know what to tell you.
Some BS.
Justin, I actually knew. I knew.
All right, so this running prediction is brought to you by the Cleveland Pulse mug. Get us to 1,000 subscribers and we'll give one away. Whoa. All right, let's do running total predictions. 2 games. We're going to redo Hawks. So we're going to throw out our old predictions because who knows what time of the year that might be. So we're going to throw that out. So me, beat the Rockets, check. Beat the Bucks, check. I said we're going to go 2-0. I'm at a running total of 8-5. Logan, same situation. Beat Rockets, beat Bucks, 10-3. A 77% hit rate. Logan is on 10 out of 13. And Justin, he has no faith in us to beat the Bucks, so he was 1-1.
Oh yeah, no faith.
No. But here's the thing. I was thinking though, if you're not risking it to say that we might beat Milwaukee with their full players, then you're not getting the reward if like half their team's out. So Justin is 7-6 after going 1-1 this week, and we have hopefully 2 games before we are with you guys again. So tomorrow at TD Garden Arena, the Boston Celtics, 7:30. This is hard. I forgot all of our really players are out. We're kind of getting like a little rivalry with the Celtics, I think. So I hope this is a good game, but I gotta go. L on the first. I already lied. I said that we were going to start with Justin. You start because I always start. Let's go the other
great.
way.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
go the other way.
Yeah, I love this. Let me just predict really quickly.
The guy in
and
last
find out that Garland can't play or anything, or the Celtics players just have a COVID outbreak, and the Raptors have a COVID outbreak. I'm going L with the Celtics. I think we lose that one.
I don't really know what the Celtics roster is at this moment.
Don't even know. Well, we lost to them with a good majority of our players.
But do they have anyone out?
No, I don't know, Jeff. Do they? Tell me before I make my damn prediction.
Do you have Google?
All right. I'm looking at the Toronto.
They played last
game,
night in Philly. They played last night in Philly.
Okay,
Van Fleet
and Dennis Schroeder, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, and Ennis Cantor Freedom. So they got, they're starting 5.
They're serviceable.
Yeah, we're losing the Celtics. I'm on to Toronto. I'm looking at the news section for Toronto Raptors. Apparently, Fred VanVleet and Flynn are added to the COVID list. I don't know. I'm going to say that we win this game somehow against Toronto after Christmas. Coming off of the Browns Christmas miracle win in Lambeau, just going to continue the good vibes with Cleveland stuff winning. So I'm going to go 1-1 for the Cavs in this next 2 games. I hope you both go 0-2.
Well, it's probably not going to be possible because we're probably just going to pick the same.
I think it's going to be what an awful week for Justin to try to get back in.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm just riding off my coattails with this now.
Justin's gonna have that. We're gonna be at the point, Logan, where me and you were just so far ahead because we're just, we're just that better at having the crystal ball.
I'm gonna have to go last at every time.
No, Justin's gonna have to be like, yeah, we're winning them all. It's gonna be like a 5-game, like we'll win them all.
I could be 13-0, but I'm trying to make it realistic so you don't catch on. You know what I mean?
He is trolling.
I like your prediction though, Justin. I think it's gonna be a hard-fought battle in Boston. Wouldn't be surprised if we somehow pulled that out, but I think I am gonna go Celtics. I think at the end of the day, they just have more scorers on the court. Maybe not better players. I mean, they do have better players, sure, but we have that better team. I just think at the end of the day, when it comes down to scoring the ball, they certainly have that as a plethora. Toronto, they're definitely gonna be looking for some revenge. They gotta be pissed. They're literally half a second away from beating us last time in that tip-in attempt in Toronto, but they're not gonna get it this time. Cavaliers are gonna win that one, 1-1.
Damn you!
And I'm expecting 2 big games from Darius Garland because you're gonna have to have some big games. Jarrett Allen is obviously, he'll do his thing as usual, double machine. But
Jarrett Allen's out with COVID.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, we didn't really go into
Toronto.
really quickly for those who don't know, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen are some of the players that are out amongst others, but those are the biggest
4 starters with Sexton.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep. So your starting lineup will probably look something like Garland, Rubio, Kevin Love, Dean Wade, and Cedi Osman would be my guess. I'll go with that. Maybe Taco Falls will.
Lowry probably start.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, Lowry.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking no one. No,
they'll probably put Lowry at center, Love at 4, Cedi at 3, or no, Dean Wade at 3, Rubio and Garland. That'll probably be your starting lineup. I'm gonna stick
with it. I'm gonna go 1-1. I think Darius Garland has a massive game against Toronto. That's my prediction.
That'd be huge.
Okay, beat Raptors, Logan says. So you guys are the same. Now here's the issue. Here's the issue and the good thing. Because when did we last play? Saturday? Friday? When was the Bucks game? The Bucks game was
Friday.
No, Saturday. Friday. December 18th.
Really?
Yeah.
We were supposed to play Atlanta on Saturday.
Oh, you know what? I forgot the Browns were supposed to play Saturday, and the Cavs filled that void.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
So Saturday, but who did we put in protocol Saturday? Okoro. So
Okoro and just Okoro, I believe.
Okoro and then Mobley the day after. So this is actually one of the better times to have like an outbreak because we're getting this little Christmas break kind of break. We're playing tomorrow, and then we're getting 1, 2, 3 or 4 days off, which is nice. I think you might have Okoro back. You could have Okoro back for the Raptors game. Might be a long haul, might be a long stretch, but that's the problem because I don't think you're going to have Jarrett Allen back for the Raptors game. Hopefully, like the Pelicans. I'm looking at the Pelicans and Wizards game in our next episode to be when we get a lot of the people back. But I'm gonna go.
Jeff, be different.
I'm going to be, because I hate to do it, but I'm saying we're going to drop both. Lose to Boston and then just not going to have enough, even at home against Toronto. If that game was in Toronto, I'd feel a lot more confident about these predictions because I think we're actually pretty good at home. But I'm going 0-2 for the small 2-game mini stretch.
Chance for Jeff to grab one.
Yeah, let's hope that we could win one of those games, though.
Yeah,
so, Logan, any send-offs?
Yeah, this episode currently, like we said, guys, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about with the games. So we were kind of just going off on a limb. We're talking about logistics in a way, just talking about the issues that we're having with players not being able to play. I think this is, again, another great test. And the Cavaliers have had 3 or 4 tests this year and have passed all of them with flying colors. So, when it comes like the injuries or it comes to a COVID issue or it comes to, any of the above situations, I think they've really come through and have performed their best when their backs are against the wall. We'll see if they can do it again the next 2.
Justin, words of wisdom.
I got nothing. I'm hoping for Christmas miracles, honestly. This week will be me. I will be trading in my Christmas gifts from Santa for which will hopefully.
Oh no! Hold on. You do have something. Give us a word. Give us a word for for our faithful who have watched this far to throw in the comments. Last week's word was banana.
Word. Banana was the word last week.
Yes.
Let's get away from the fruits though.
I'm trying to think where eggnog.
Ooh,
there you go.
Eggnog.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, so you heard it here first. Eggnog. Drop it in the chat and then put dash. Love it or hate it, because I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't had eggnog in a while, but I feel like it's really like you love it or hate it. Like people just don't casually drink eggnog.
Tis the season.
It's either like you got the moose glass from Christmas Vacation or you just throw it away. But eggnog it is. Throw it in the comments for the Cavs Encapsulated faithful. We're your Tuesday show. It's episode 9. We're almost on to double digits. The Cavs are 3rd in the East. We can't even, it's tough to even get excited because we're having games postponed and stuff like that. But let's get it out of the way. Hopefully we can keep people out of COVID protocol the rest of the year for the most part and have a successful 2021-2022 campaign. We're Cavs Encapsulated. We're the Cleveland Pulse.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. Make sure.
Merry Christmas.
Let them know.
Happy Hanukkah, too.